Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes and today I'm up super early and I'm going on a bit of a road trip. So this morning I'm going to see a company called Escort Tech, who I've dealt with a few times in the past, but this will be the first time I've actually been to their premises. Escort Tech sell new and used parts for old Fords, and the reason I'm going down to see them today is that they're an official distributor of Magnum car panels. I'm going to pick up all the panels for the welding that I have planned for the front end of MOREDOOR, my MOREDOOR Mk2 Escort, and this is going to be the biggest test yet for Winston, the plastic Fiesta, when it comes to him trying to be a van. Wow, what a place. So many Escort parts. I felt like I was in heaven. Huge thanks to the guys at Escort Tech for sorting out all those panels for MOREDOOR. They actually had half of the panels in stock when I phoned, and then the rest of them they were able to get in within a week. So if any of you guys need any parts for your old Escorts, definitely check out Escort Tech. I'll leave a link to their website and their eBay shop in the description of this video. It's a new day and I've had some parts through the post for MOREDOOR's new engine. You'll be able to see them in this video, but first you'll notice that I'm still driving Winston Cat's plastic Ford Fiesta, and that's because MOREDOOR has a little bit of an issue. So as you can see, MOREDOOR has got a puncture on one of her front tyres. It looks like it's only flat at the bottom, but I still think I'm going to change it. I've got this old Yokohama A539 tyre. Still got quite a lot of meat on it. But if this tyre is repairable, I'll fit it to one of my drift steelies and then get the puncture repaired. One little job that I did on MOREDOOR quite recently, I don't know if you'll be able to see, maybe if I use my light on my phone. Basically, I've given the areas where there was rust a bit of a clean with a wire brush just to see how bad it is really. They didn't turn into holes, but I reckon if I kept digging, they would have done. But for now, I've just covered the area with sealer and then just give it a spray of satin black, because I really want to get this car through the MOT before I do the welding on the front end. But right now, I'm going to get that punctured wheel off MOREDOOR and then carry it with me to work, and then hopefully I'll be able to find a tyre shop that can do the job for me. Round the garage then, with MOREDOOR's new ST170 engine, you'll notice that I've put the fancy cover back on it, and that's because I wanted to fit the other cover to Esther, my ST170 powered Mark 1 Escort, just so I could turn over her engine, just to get the oil flowing around it, and the other cover still has the gasket attached to it and stuff, and it's got the baffle attached inside, so that's why I've switched them over. If you're new to the channel, this was actually hydro dipped by a guy called Kieran, aka Little Red Fiesta. Go and check him out on Instagram. The reason I haven't actually fitted the baffle back inside here is because first I need to get a fitting for the oil catch can and attach that to there, and then I can put the baffle back on inside and then put the gasket on and all that. The reason I haven't actually got a fitting yet is because I'm looking for one that's got a 12mm thread one end, so I can just put a nut on the inside, and then on the other end where it pokes out, I'm looking for a 12 or 13mm barb so that I can run 12 or 13mm internal diameter hoses from the valve cover and from the block when the flame trap's fitted, and run those both to the catch can. Anyway, the fact that this cover is fitted now means that what I'm going to show you in a little while will look a lot better when it's bolted to the engine. One other change that I haven't shown on the channel yet is this adjustable vernier pulley. And the reason I've got one of those is because I want to retard the exhaust cam slightly, which can give you up to 10 bhp more at the top end. Unfortunately, this will be covered though with the other cover that goes on there, which was also hydro dipped by Kieran. So what do we have in the box? Well, it is of course the inlet manifold, which means I'll be able to run the CBR 900 bike carbs that Johnny Bamber donated to me on Maude's new engine. I got this from Dan ST Engineering, always really nice parts from him, and he's a bit of an expert when it comes to putting bike carbs on car engines. As you'll see, it's quite angled up because ideally you want to run the carbs at the same angle as they would have been on the CBR 900 motorbike. Now I started putting this together last night just to save me a bit of time. I bought the fitting kit from Dan ST Engineering as well, which basically comprises of these silicone hoses and some Jubilee clips. I also got a heavy duty inlet manifold gasket. This is the throttle cable kit that he sells. It's got a couple of fittings there that I assume attached to the carbs, and then a universal throttle cable. And the other day I found this pedal in my garage, which was what was fitted to Maude when I was running side draft Webers. Basically you need to cut the end off the pedal and then attach this block, and then you attach the cable to the block. So really glad I kept hold of that. And because Dan ST Engineering is such an expert when it comes to bike carbs, he was actually able to advise me as to what jets I should have in the carbs, just so that it's on a safe sort of base jetting to get me to the rolling road, and he was able to supply me with the jets as well. Right, so here are the bike carbs, fully rebuilt by Johnny Bamber before he gave them to me, and basically that just attaches on there. Slide the carbs into the silicone hoses and then do the Jubilee clips up. Now I'm not going to worry about changing the jets or anything in these. I don't actually know what jets are in them. For now I just want to see what all this is going to look like on Maude's new engine. Right now I need to get myself to work, but before I go I'm going to try and find at least a couple of studs to hold the inlet manifold onto the engine, and hopefully I'll have time to come back round here on my break today, and then we can finally see what the bike carbs are going to look like on the new lump. Right, back round the garage on my break, and I've got the bike carbs bolted to the engine. Just got it on a couple of studs just to see what it all looks like. I think it looks pucker. Love the way that the carbs are angled up. I have to wait and see when I get the engine in the car whether I can fit any longer trumpets, although I will be measuring the distance from the end of the trumpet to roughly where the inlet valve is, because there is a certain length which is ideal. I can't remember it at the moment, but I'll try and get it to the ideal length if there's space for longer trumpets. Had a little bit of an issue with the wiring for the throttle position sensor. It was sort of tucked in quite neatly actually, but it was in the way of this Jubilee clip, so I just had to undo the throttle position sensor with these 3 screws, and then I can get the wire out and then screwed it back on. This vacuum fitting here on the inlet manifold is to connect to a servo, but I'm not running a servo, so I need to get a blanking bung for that. But yeah, really happy with how this is looking. The ports lined up perfectly with the ST170 head. They're slightly higher up and slightly bigger than a standard Zetec head, but Dan ST Engineering can make you an inlet for any engine to run any carbs, literally. So if you need a custom inlet manifold, definitely get in touch with Dan ST Engineering. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to bother mirror polishing this inlet manifold like I did on the one that's fitted to the Mark 1, which was also supplied by Dan ST Engineering. I think it looks good enough as it is. Although it's a shame to cover up the Turbo Sport adjustable vernier, I thought I might as well see what it all looks like with the cam belt cover on as well. It looks pucker. Obviously the cover that goes down here was also hydro dipped by Kieran, but I'm not going to throw that on for now. But yeah, really happy with how this is looking. It's going to look so good in Maude's Bay. Alright, so trying to work out how to get the throttle cable fitted. I've figured out how to attach the cable to the linkage. It's quite simple. Now in the kit you get this right angled piece, which is obviously designed to make the cable bend a right angle, a nice curved bend. I'm not actually sure whether the cable's supposed to go like that and then to the pedal, or I'll just thread the cable up this way. When you pull on it, that does operate it, but I don't know how this is supposed to go on there then. I don't know. I'll have to have a look online and see if I can find a picture of Dan ST's throttle linkage kit fitted to CBR 900 carbs. So one last look at the engine before I go back to work. Massive thanks again to Johnny Bamber for the bike carbs. Huge thanks again to Kieran for the hydro dipping job. And thanks to Turbo Sport and Dan ST Engineering for supplying those parts as well. I better get a move on because I've got to pick up Maud's wheel from the tyre shop. It's another new day, and with Maud's tyre now sorted, she's back in action. Some of you might be wondering why I'm actually out and about driving when the UK is effectively in a lockdown at the moment because of the coronavirus. Because I work for Royal Mail and the government have decided to keep the postal service going, it means I am entitled to leave the house to go to work. So if I'm going to my garage, which is very close to my work, before work or on my break, I'm not coming into contact with anyone extra than I would have been anyway. And if I wasn't going to my garage on my break, what I'm normally doing is sitting in my office with my colleagues having a cup of tea, which I obviously don't want to do at the moment. Right, so I'm around the garage, and before I end this video, I just thought I'd have a closer look at the panels now that the panels and Maude are in the same place. Obviously front wings and front panel, quite self-explanatory. Obviously you can unpick the wings carefully if you wanted to reuse them, but this one was completely destroyed when I got the car. It's full of filler in the arch, and there's a bit of a hole here which I repaired with fiberglass, so that wing's definitely scrap. This one's not so bad. Now, as I've explained before, I do intend to just hack everything off, especially now I've got all these panels, and basically I'm just going to be left with the shape of the inner wings going like this. I'll insert a picture now of another car so you know what I mean. One of the main reasons I decided to go so far is because of this piece here. Now it's actually made up of many pieces. You've got the slam panel, which is this bit here. You've got the two radiator supports, which is basically where the radiator bolts to, and then you've got this front cross member, which is behind the front panel. You can't see that. And then this support here, which, did I cut it out of this car? No, I think it's still there. I cut it out of the Mark 1. Anyway, the fact that you can buy this already all welded together is one of the main reasons why I decided to literally just hack it all off. Now it's worth noting that this slam panel was very rusty when I got this car. You can see that it's all coming back through now. I spent ages with a wire brush on a drill, got it back to bare metal, but it was still very pitted, and then gave it a coat of paint. I'm actually surprised it hasn't come up worse already, to be honest, but yeah, it is rusty. Another bit of rust, which is easier for me to show you now on this repair panel. If I turn it over, around here, which is basically down there sort of under the battery, and there's a nut welded on the other side here, and that's where the anti-roll bar bracket bolts to. It also bolts to the chassis, but one of the bolts goes to there. And I remember that all this area basically on the car is really crispy, but yeah, the fact that this comes in one piece I think is really handy. You know, once you've hacked the front end off and then spent time carefully unpicking it, so you're literally just left with the inner wings, which obviously follow this shape here, and I reckon that'll be quite easy to weld in. Right, now onto the front panel. Now the front panel on this car was brand new when I got the car. I was told that this car had all the welding done, which was a lie. And the front panel was actually just tacked on. And because I didn't really trust my welding skills, I basically learnt to weld on this car. I know for a fact, I've put far too many welds on the front panel, around here especially, you know, in there, where the wing meets the front panel. So, you know, that's another reason why these wings would be probably quite difficult to unpick, because I would have put far too many welds in there just to make sure that it's strong. But yeah, with the way that I plan to hack this off, that's not going to be an issue. If I put that on there, so you can see sort of how it would be on the car with the inner piece and the front panel in the front of it. Basically, I intend to get a reciprocating saw, which is a lot less messy and less noisy than an angle grinder, and literally just hack through there. Obviously not wanting to hit the inner wing at all, you know, carve well away from the inner wing, because I can unpick the last bits afterwards. Yeah, and basically just hack all the way through, you know, hacking through the front panel, through the slam panel, through the radiator supports, and then that, you know, I'll be able to get the front off crudely really quick. And then with that all out of the way, the last bit of the front panel and stuff that is attached to the wing can just be hacked off with the wing. And I think I explained before that because I'm sacrificing the wings, I don't have to carefully unpick this while the wing's there. You know, I can just hack through there, you know, hammer and chisel it even through there, get the wing off, and then carefully unpick the wing from the rail. Although I have bought a new set of rails, both sides. So yeah, that bit is basically the rail that the wing sits on. You get this little bit of extra metal here. So if it was really rusty, you know, you could weld it along there if you wanted to. This piece here is actually just the back of the wing rail. It's just a much better shape than that bit is. So yeah, bought them as well, they're really cheap. And this bit you see here, similarly to what I did to the Mk2 Escort, basically RS2000s had a strengthening plate here. Obviously I've just sat it on top, but you know, you weld it onto the inner wing and then screw the top mount back on. So yeah, that should stiffen up the front a bit. It's original inner wings that have never been strengthened, and you know, they're still solid, but I'm going to weld them on to strengthen it. And this piece here is another piece that the RS's had, and that basically goes behind the wing. It connects the spring cup to the inner wing, so again, just stiffening things up. I may actually have these wings bolt on rather than weld them on, I don't know. It would be quite easy to put what they call screw rivets along here and then just bolt the wing to it. And then behind the bumper here or something, you could have one of those rubber band things that the drift cars use. I'll put a picture up so you know what I mean. So yeah, I might actually have the wings bolt on. So who knows, one day I might end up getting some fiberglass wings and a fiberglass bonnet, and then I can switch between metal and fiberglass, because if you go to a drift day, you're not going to be wanting to run your fiberglass panels, but if you go drag racing, then maybe you would. So yeah, I hope that explains a little bit better why I plan to, you know, literally hack the front end off. And the more I think about it, the more I'm actually thinking about doing the job myself. I don't know yet. I'll have to obviously find somewhere to do the job, so maybe someone will rent me a little corner in their workshop or something. But yeah, at the moment I'm leaning towards doing the job myself, but we'll see. Now before I go to work, I didn't mention when I was filming yesterday that literally all I need now to be able to get this engine in moored is the G19 sump. Now with what's going on in the world at the moment, I don't know, you know, I'm hoping that it will get through before, you know, if G19 do sort of shut their doors and go into lockdown. But I did speak to G19 last week, and he sort of said it should be ready this week, so fingers crossed. But I know G19 are very busy, and that's why I sent the sump to him so early. You know, these companies that are really good at what they're doing, they're always really busy, so you have to be patient. But now is the time I need my G19 sump. So that is where I'm at with MOREDOOR, my MOREDOOR Mk2 Escort. We're living in uncertain times at the moment, but I'm hoping to make more progress on her very soon, and as soon as I do, I'll obviously let you know. Big shout to anyone who is being affected by the coronavirus. If you're indoors self-isolating because you're showing symptoms, get well soon. Other than that, I'm going to end this video here. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all my future uploads. and check the description for links to all the people and businesses that I've mentioned in this video. You can also find links to my socials and my email address in the description as well. So other than that, until next time, stay safe and thanks for watching.